In ancient times, the ruler of the winged tribe killed the merfolks and took their Naga pearl. He used the golden disc to unleash its power and opened the eye in the sky. A portal opened, unleashing mystical beings which devoured everything. The humans sent a warrior to infiltrate and destroy the stardust flower which gave the winged tribe their power. Using this opportunity, the humans defeated the winged tribe and destroyed the sky city. The ruins were used to build the city of Uranopolis where the humans lived. We come across a boy named Ni Kong Kong hiding in a cave, and an older boy calls him out to help him. But when he goes out, the other boys catch him and hurt his hand. This is because Ni Kong Kong has a scar which makes his hand glow blue all the time. Ni Kong Kong runs from them and comes across a young armadillo. It takes a liking to him and he names it Oka. 23 years later, Ni Kong Kong sees his glowing hand and covers it using a glove. His pet Oka still accompanies him, and they both head down to eat. At the restaurant, the owner calls out Ni Kong Kong as a thief and asks him to pay ahead for the food. Ni Kong Kong gives him a gold cube and the owner returns happily. But Ni Kong Kong uses his skills and steals the gold cube back from the owner. Oka is used to this, and right when Ni Kong Kong is about to start eating, a man comes to catch him. Ni Kong Kong is reminded about his childhood trauma and tries fighting the man and his companions. But they use a fishing net and catch Ni Kong Kong and tie him up. The boss lady of the men arrives and orders Ni Kong Kong to pay for causing trouble in their territory. Ni Kong Kong pleads for more time since he does not have the money to satisfy her. He sneaks a peek as the boss lady comes closer to him, and the boss lady gives him a task to steal a treasure for her from the prince's antique collection. That night, the guests arrive at the prince's palace to view his collection. Ni Kong Kong sneaks inside the palace and reaches the treasure room. The prince is busy showing off his collection to his guests. Oka tags along everywhere, and Ni Kong Kong spots the unique treasure mentioned by the boss lady, but he goes to hide since the servants come to pick up the treasure for the prince. One of the servants stays back since he feels something is wrong. Ni Kong Kong feels that he might have been caught, but he is shocked to find the servant attacked by another man. He is accompanied by two others, and they are also after the unique treasure. They are called Storm, Tiger, and Crane, who are from the winged tribe. Ni Kong Kong hears them talk about another key treasure at the ruins on the Monk Mountain. Crane mentions that the unique treasure is taken to the prince, and right then, they feel their leader, Vlad, arrive at the palace and head out. Ni Kong Kong and Oka use this chance to escape from the palace. The prince reveals the unique treasure to his guests, and right then, Vlad skillfully approaches the prince. His minions follow behind as well. The prince laughs, saying that he did not invite the circus for his party. Vlad pities him and reveals his wings and attacks everyone. He deals the final blow to the prince and takes away the unique treasure. In the morning, a soldier rides to the imperial palace to inform the king about the death of the prince. The second Prince Hurley also hears the tragic news. The soldier mentions that the clues left behind at the scene indicate the remnants of the winged tribe. The king immediately orders the royal guards to lead the investigation and capture the killer. The royal guards arrive at the prince's palace, and one of the guards confront Officer Raven, since she is not authorized to be at the crime scene. Raven retaliates but stops on seeing the captain arrive. She requests the captain to let her join the investigation team, but the vice captain insists that she not be allowed since she is also a part of the winged tribe. The captain agrees and orders Raven to stay away. At this time, Ni Kong Kong and Oka arrive at the ruins of the Monk Mountain. He uses his skills to activate the mechanisms in the ruins and climbs down along with Oka, but suddenly his hand starts hurting and they both fall inside the ruins. Oka comes to check on him and they start to explore further inside. Ni Kong Kong activates the key mechanism and opens the secret chamber. He rejoices since the chamber is filled with ancient crystals. But right then his hand starts hurting again. Ni Kong Kong takes off his glove to see the glowing hand, and he notices a similar light glowing behind the waterfall in the chamber. As he ponders about what it is, Ni Kong Kong is pulled towards it and his hand holds on to the crystal. Ni Kong Kong screams in pain and he calms down only after taking off the crystal from the hall. All the mechanisms inside the ruin turn off, and right then, Storm jumps in with his minions. He reaches the secret chamber and notices Ni Kong Kong holding onto the key treasure. Ni Kong Kong rolls the key treasure over to Storm and pleads to let him go, but Storm shoots an arrow towards Ni Kong Kong. Before Ni Kong Kong could react, Raven comes to save him. Ni Kong Kong instantly falls in love with the beauty in front of him, but she pushes him aside. Raven calls Storm his brother and asks him to surrender, but Storm pulls out his sword and starts fighting her. Oka jumps in, using this chance to take the key treasure from Storm. Ni Kong Kong catches it and escapes, but Storm goes after him. Raven gets hurt when she tries to save Ni Kong Kong again, and Storm kicks them both out of the chamber. Right then, the soldiers and the royal guards arrive at the place and surround Ni Kong Kong and Raven. Using this diversion, Storm escapes from the ruins ruins. The captain questions Raven how she got here before them, but Raven takes the key treasure from Ni Kong Kong and hands it to the captain. Raven is captured in doubt for acting as a spy for the Winged Tribe, and she is imprisoned along with Ni Kong Kong. That night, the second prince sneaks into their cell and orders Raven to reveal the location of Vlad, but she insists on not being a spy and fights the prince. Ni Kong Kong mentions that he can get them to Vlad, but the prince has to pay up first. At this time, Vlad confronts Storm for failing to get the key treasure and orders Thunder to go retrieve it. Back at the prison, Oka steals the key treasure and brings it to Ni Kong Kong. He tells Oka to wait for him outside and starts chatting with Raven. Soon, the Prince Hurley arrives with the soldiers' uniforms for Ni Kong Kong and Raven, and they walk out of there. Right then, Thunder and his minions pose as soldiers and sneak inside. As they cross each other silently, Ni Kong Kong recognizes seeing Thunder back at the prince's palace. But right before they reach the exit, the captain walks in. Raven reveals that the only way out is through the elevator, and Ni Kong Kong offers to act as bait to distract the soldiers. At this time, Thunder and his minions are searching for the key treasure. Ni Kong Kong leads the soldiers to the room where Thunder and his minions are, and soon a battle between the two groups begins. Ni Kong Kong drops the key treasure, and Thunder, noticing this, starts chasing him. The captain arrives at the scene and he fights Thunder. Ni Kong uses this chance to escape from there, and goes to find Raven and the prince. As the elevator goes up, Thunder catches up with them and uses his weapon to hold the elevator. But Raven thinks of a plan to cut the rope and escape, and the elevator falls and Thunder ends up crushed beneath it. Raven orders Ni Kong Kong and the prince to follow her, and finally escape from the prison. They are now on a boat and Raven reveals their destination to be the Night Marsh Cavern. The prince asks if that is where Vlad is located, but is disappointed to learn that they are heading there to open the key treasure. That night, Raven is reminiscing, holding onto the necklace her father presented her. Ni Kong Kong drops in and steals it from her. Angered Raven starts beating him, and in the middle of this, takes off his glove. Raven notices his hand glowing and asks Ni Kong Kong what it is. In a fury, Ni Kong Kong smashes her necklace down and breaks it, and Raven almost kicks him off the boat. As Raven goes to pick it up, a blast occurs and the necklace floats up. Raven is shocked to see a purple mist emanate from it. The mist gets absorbed by her back and Raven faints. Ni Kong Kong comes to check in on her, but Raven starts floating in the sky. He holds on to her, but Raven continues to go up. Hearing the commotion, Oka and the prince come out only to find them both far up in the sky. Soon a pair of wings grow on Raven's back and she wakes up, but Raven is unable to control the wings, and Ni Kong Kong falls off. He activates his hook and holds on to Raven, and they both end up on top of a cliff. They decide to stay there for the night as Raven practices flying. She reveals to Ni Kong Kong about her family and how her father was treated as a traitor since he wanted peace between them and the humans. Ni Kong Kong also reveals that he doesn't know who he is, and the glowing hand is a mystery to him. He mentions that the key treasure must be related to him since his hand acts up when he holds the key treasure. Ni Kong Kong tries to use this mood to kiss Raven, but she hooks him and they fly away. In the morning, they reach the Night Marsh Cavern. Raven reveals the person they have to find is an old ape man, and they split up to look for him. People are watching the dragon race, and the prince joins the crowd as well. Raven confronts the prince for frolicking instead of looking for the man. The prince gets angry and spews out that he only helped them escape to find Vlad and not the ape man. A man from the Winged Tribe hears this and goes out to send a message to Vlad, but Oka attacks him and they capture the man to find that he is from the Winged Tribe. Raven blames the prince for almost screwing up their plans. The prince mentions how he is only after Vlad and does not care about anything else. Ni Kong Kong tells them that he has found the ape man. They go find the ape man locked up in a cage and try to free him, but the guards soon arrive to stop them. Their boss also comes, but he is taken aback by Raven's beauty. The boss offers to let them go since he likes her, but Raven mentions that she wants the ape man to be let free. The boss agrees to let him go if they pay his debt of 1 million gold coins. Ni Kong Kong and Raven turn to look towards the prince, who tells them it is ridiculous to expect someone to have that much money on hand. The boss leaves them, mentioning that Raven is always welcome to join him. Hearing this, Ni Kong Kong comes up with a plan. Raven dresses up in a showy red dress and goes to meet the boss, who gets speechless after seeing her. In the meantime, the prince releases the messenger bird they caught from the Winged Tribe guy they caught earlier. Ni Kong Kong keeps an eye on Raven, but she gets drunk with the boss and runs away to throw up. The boss goes after her, but Ni Kong Kong stops him and runs after her instead. The prince shows off his insignia, and this catches the eye of the boss. The boss recognizes this and pledges his allegiance to the prince. The ape man is released, and Ni Kong Kong hands over the key treasure to him. The ape man takes them to his room filled with literature. He finds the book on ancient prophecies and opens the key treasure to find a blue ball inside. Ni Kong Kong's hand acts up, but he endures it. The ape man explains that it is a Naga pearl protected by the merfolk and tells them about the ancient war. Ni Kong Kong mentions opens his hand to the ape-man, but Storm and his minions reach the place. Raven wonders how they found the place, and the prince reveals it was him who released the messenger bird. Right then, Vlad makes his entry, and the prince says that he was waiting for him. The boss and his guards back up the prince, and he attacks Vlad, but Vlad is too powerful. Storm goes after Raven and Kong and stops them from escaping. Raven reveals her wings, and Storm gets angry on seeing her able to fly. He injures her back, but Raven pushes him into the water. Unfortunately, Storm uses a rope to tie her down and leaves after retrieving the key treasure. Vlad punches the prince, and the boss jumps over the prince to protect him from the falling pillar. Storm gives the key treasure, and Vlad smiles in joy after seeing the Naga Pearl. Kong rescues Raven, and she tries going after Vlad, but she cannot fly since Storm hurt her wings. Prince pulls the dead boss, and Kong walks over to tell the prince that he caused all this. Raven tells them that they should head back to Uranopolis immediately. The prince also mentions that he saw a temple with the symbol on the key treasure back in Uranopolis, and gets up to leave, but Kong tells them that he will not join them since he only wanted to find his roots and not save the world where no one else cared for him. Raven calls him a coward and leaves with the prince. In the morning, the prince calls out to Raven, seeing something approaching them from the sky. They prepare for battle but are shocked to find Kong and Oka riding the dragons from the night marsh cavern. The prince rejoices on seeing him, and they soon depart on top of the dragons to stop Vlad. Back in Uranopolis, Storm and his minions infiltrate as performers inside the city. Vlad flies in to signal them, and they reveal themselves and fight the soldiers. As the king and all of the soldiers are distracted by them, Vlad flies inside the palace. Kong and the others reach the palace just in time. The king is fighting Crane, who almost kills him, and the prince flies in to stop her. Vlad reaches the temple and opens it with the golden disc. The captain arrives with his soldiers, and Vlad leaves Storm to take care of them. Vlad reaches the inner sanctum and activates the Eye of the Sky using the golden disc. Kong and Raven arrive at the temple, and Raven stays back to fight Storm. Kong and Oka run inside the temple, and the captain follows them inside as well. The king and the prince manage to defeat Crane, and Raven accidentally kills Storm. Kong throws Oka to get the Naga Pearl just before Vlad opens the key treasure, and the captain jumps to stop Vlad. But Vlad defeats the captain easily. Kong jumps after Vlad, but he gets beaten too. Vlad uses his wings to stab Kong, but Oka jumps in to save him and take his place. Vlad releases the Naga Pearl and activates the Eye in the Sky. A portal opens in the sky, and Kong cries on seeing Oka lay there lifeless. He attacks Vlad, but gets beaten up again. Soon, Raven arrives with 2 soldiers, and the captain orders the soldiers to remove the Naga Pearl. They go to do as instructed, but they turn to ashes on coming in contact with the pearl. Vlad flies to view the portal as thousands of mythical insects fly down to the city. They attack and devour everything in their tracks. The king orders the soldiers to evacuate the citizens, and the prince leaves for the temple. Raven finds Vlad, and a battle begins between them. Kong approaches the Naga Pearl, and seeing it not affect him, Vlad flies to stab him. Raven and the prince attack Vlad and come to aid Kong. As they fight Vlad, Kong uses all his strength and willpower to do what he has to do. He calls himself as the last descendant of the merfolk and catches the Naga Pearl. The blast pushes everyone away, and all the mythical insects get sucked back into the portal. Raven goes to find Kong, and the prince declares that he is dead. The prince goes to beat up Vlad, and Raven cries her heart out, but Kong calls out to her and opens his eyes. They take Oka to the ape-man, who reveals that Oka is not dead since he was hit with the blast from the Naga Pearl, and it helped save his life. Later, Kong joins Raven sitting by the cliff and proposes his love for her. Raven smiles and takes him as she flies up the sky. Kong feels the love in her warmth, and they kiss.